Chosen ones, the time has come, and your enemies are paying the price. They ignored the warnings, dismissed the signs, and arrogantly thought they were untouchable. But now, the universe is delivering a powerful blow. A deadly sickness has struck them, not just in the physical realm, but deep within their spirit. The consequences of their ignorance and defiance are now impossible to escape. For far too long, they believed they could continue on their path without consequence. But every action, every energy they've put out into the world, whether in the form of manipulation, lies, or darkness, has caught up with them. Now, they face the fallout. The sickness they're experiencing is not a mere accident. It's a direct result of their rejection of the truth, the divine messages they turned a blind eye to. But while they fall into this chaos, you, the chosen ones, are standing firm. This is your time to rise, to harness the energy of the universe, to step into the light and claim your rightful place. The universe has chosen you to transcend, to break free from the shackles that once bound you. The balance is shifting. Your enemies have sealed their fate, and now it's your turn to embrace your destiny. Are you ready to step into your power? Comment, "I am ready" below. This is your divine affirmation. Before we dive in, I need a small favor. As this is a new channel, my videos have been facing some challenges reaching those who are meant to hear this wisdom. If you feel this message resonates with you and want to support its growth, please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. The world around us has already changed, but not everyone has noticed. This shift wasn't sudden. It wasn't a loud explosion that shook the earth. Instead, it was a silent but unstoppable force, like the slow-moving roots of a tree breaking through concrete. Those who are spiritually awake have felt it in their bones, a shift in energy so profound that it has altered the very fabric of reality. But those who remain blind, those who ignored the warnings, still walk as if nothing has changed. They move forward unaware, confident in their illusions, never realizing that the ground beneath them is no longer solid. This shift is like a fault line beneath the earth, widening with each passing moment. The signs have been there, subtle at first, like a whisper in the wind, then louder, like distant thunder before a storm. For those who could see, the warning was clear. The world was being rearranged, and the balance of power was shifting. The energy they once relied on, the false security they built their lives upon, is slipping through their fingers. But instead of adjusting, instead of preparing, they dismissed it. They ignored the cracks forming in their reality, convinced that their foundation was unshakable. They carried on with their usual ways, speaking words laced with deceit, feeding off manipulation, and believing they were untouchable. But what they failed to understand is that a shift like this does not announce itself to those who refuse to listen. It does not wait for permission to unfold. Like the changing of the tides, it sweeps in silently, eroding everything that is not built on truth. The weight of their own ignorance is pressing down on them, yet they remain oblivious. The universe has been realigning, setting the stage for what comes next. This transformation is not visible to the untrained eye, yet its effects are undeniable. The chosen ones, those who have been watching and waiting, have already adapted. They have felt the undercurrents of energy pulling them in a new direction, guiding them toward higher wisdom and clarity. But the ones who ignored the warnings are still clinging to a world that no longer exists. They are like leaves trying to hold onto a branch after the wind has already torn them free. Their blindness is not by accident. It is the result of their own choices. They were given moments of clarity, opportunities to wake up, but they turned away. They convinced themselves that nothing had changed, that their actions carried no consequences, but the unseen forces at work do not wait for acknowledgement. This shift is here, moving like a silent wave in the night, reshaping everything it touches. They are standing in the middle of a storm without realizing the sky has already darkened. Soon, they will have no choice but to face the reality they ignored. But by then, it will be too late to turn back. Not every sickness is of the body. Some illnesses seep into the mind, cloud the soul, and drain the spirit before they ever manifest physically. What is happening now is not just another wave of disease sweeping through the world. It is something much deeper, much darker. This sickness is not random, nor is it without meaning. It is a mark, a separation, a sign of what has already taken place in the unseen realm. Those who have rejected the truth, who have shut their eyes to the shift that has been unfolding, are now bearing the weight of their choices. Their suffering is not just physical discomfort. It is an unraveling, a slow disintegration from the inside out. The body follows where the spirit leads. When the soul is in alignment, the body thrives. Energy flows freely, and strength is renewed. But when the soul is out of sync, when it resists truth and clings to deception, the body begins to wither. This is why those who turn their backs on the divine order are now feeling it in their bones, their breath, their very life force. Their energy field, once vibrant and strong, is now shrinking like a fire deprived of oxygen. What once radiated power and confidence is now reduced to exhaustion and fragility. They are caught in an invisible grip, a force pulling them downward, draining them moment by moment. This is no ordinary affliction. It is not something that can be cured with medicine alone, because its roots are not in the body, but in the spirit. They can seek doctors, treatments, and remedies, but nothing will bring them true relief. Their suffering is the weight of their own actions returning to them, the consequences of ignoring the unseen warnings. It is like carrying a heavy chain, each link forged by their own resistance to truth. The longer they ignored it, the heavier it became. Until now, it is wrapped so tightly around them that they can barely move. The chosen ones, those who have kept their hearts open and their spirits strong, remain untouched. This sickness does not reach them because they are aligned with the higher order, flowing with the energy of transformation rather than resisting it. But those who laughed, doubted, and dismissed the truth are now realizing that their immunity was an illusion. They thought they were strong, untouchable, above the consequences of their choices. Now they are weak, vulnerable, and lost in a storm they never saw coming. What they feel now is not just physical pain, but an emptiness creeping in, a hollowness where their energy once was. Their aura, which once gave them presence and influence, is now dim, barely holding together. They move through the world like shadows of their former selves, drained and disconnected, unable to regain the strength they once took for granted. This is not just a season of sickness. It is a reckoning, a dividing line between those who are rising and those who are falling. The energy they once hurled at you has not disappeared. It has circled back, striking with the same force they intended for you. Every whispered lie, every calculated betrayal, and every silent wish for your downfall has now returned to its source like a boomerang cutting through the air. They believed they could speak falsehoods and manipulate outcomes without consequence, as if their actions would dissolve into nothingness. But energy does not vanish. It moves, it lingers, and it always finds its way home. Now, the weight of their own deceit is pressing down on them, making every step heavier, every breath shallower. They thrived on control, using deception as a weapon and feeding off the confusion of others. Like predators lurking in the shadows, they drained energy from those around them, mistaking stolen strength for their own power. But that borrowed energy has run dry. The tables have turned, and now they find themselves empty, weakened, and lost in the very darkness they once cast upon others. It is as if they built a well of poison, confident they would never have to drink from it, only to find themselves parched, with nothing else left to consume. Their words, once sharp as daggers, now turn against them, cutting deeper than they ever expected. The stories they spun to trap others have become the very net that entangles them. The manipulations they carefully crafted now twist their own reality, leaving them in a maze of their own making. They look for a way out, but every path leads them back to the very lies they created. The power they once held over others has dissolved like sand, slipping through their fingers, leaving behind nothing but regret and isolation. They once moved with confidence, believing they could shape the world around them without consequence. But now they find themselves bound, shackled not by the hands of others, but by the weight of their own deeds. The chains they forged, link by link, through dishonesty and cruelty, now tighten around them. They once laughed at your struggles, believing they were untouchable, but now they are trapped in a prison of their own design. The doors they locked for others are now shut against them, and no matter how hard they knock, no one is opening them. This reversal is not random. It is not coincidence. It is the natural balance of energy correcting itself. They thought they were above it, immune to the forces that govern the unseen, but the truth is now undeniable. What they sent out has come back, and there is no escaping it. They are drained, powerless, and desperate for relief, but the only thing waiting for them is the echo of their own actions. Their minds are no longer their refuge. The walls they built to keep out the truth are closing in on them, suffocating instead of protecting. Once, they were masters of illusion, weaving false realities to hide behind, convincing themselves and others that they were untouchable. But now, that illusion is cracking like a mirror struck by a heavy blow, and the shattered pieces reveal a reflection they cannot bear to see. No matter how much they try to escape, the weight of truth is pressing down on them, forcing them to confront what they spent years denying. Their thoughts, once sharp and calculated, now spiral in endless loops of fear and regret. They lie awake at night, their minds racing, searching for a way out, but there is none. Anxiety grips them like iron chains, tightening with every passing moment. The silence they once enjoyed has turned into their worst enemy, amplifying the whispers of their own guilt. Sleep does not come easily. When they close their eyes, they see the faces of those they have wronged, the echoes of their past choices playing in their minds like a song stuck on repeat. Paranoia has become their constant companion. Every shadow feels like a threat. Every whisper sounds like an accusation. They used to control the narrative, bending reality to their will, but now reality refuses to bend. They are trapped in their own deception, unable to trust anyone, not even themselves. Every smile directed their way feels fake. Every word spoken around them seems laced with hidden meaning. The confidence they once carried has dissolved into suspicion, leaving them questioning whether the people around them are allies or enemies. They try to distract themselves, filling their days with noise, but nothing helps. The illusion they lived in is no longer solid ground. It crumbles beneath their feet with every step they take. The lies they told to others have become the lies they tell themselves. But even those are beginning to lose their power. They stare into the mirror and no longer recognize the person looking back. Their own reflection feels like a stranger, hollow and lost. The truth they ignored is now the very thing consuming them. It was once a distant whisper they could ignore, but now it is a relentless storm inside their mind. They can no longer run, no longer pretend. The reality they spent so long avoiding has finally caught up to them, and no amount of denial will make it disappear. The contrast could not be clearer. While they stumble in confusion, weighed down by their own choices, you walk forward untouched, guided by a force far greater than anything they understand. This is not by chance. This is divine protection in action. The same storms that shake their foundations leave you standing firm. The winds may howl, the ground may tremble, but you remain steady, like a tree deeply rooted in rich soil, its branches bending but never breaking. Where they see obstacles, you see opportunities. Doors that seemed locked before are now swinging open, revealing paths you never imagined. Blessings appear from places you least expected, as if the universe itself is clearing the way for you. What was once delayed is now arriving at the perfect moment, unfolding effortlessly like a river carving its way through the land. The same energy that once felt stagnant is now flowing in your favor, lifting you higher while they sink deeper into their own turmoil. There is an undeniable separation happening, a division between those who walk in truth and those who chose deception. It is as if a great veil has been lifted, exposing the difference between light and darkness. You are no longer entangled in their struggles, no longer caught in the web of their chaos. The weight they tried to place on your shoulders has fallen away, leaving you lighter, freer, and more in tune with the divine plan unfolding before you. The protection surrounding you is not something they can understand. They watch in disbelief as you continue to rise while they crumble under the weight of their own energy. They may try to explain it away, but deep down, they know the truth. You are being shielded by a force they cannot touch. They once dismissed it, mocked it, even tried to tear you down, but now they see the difference. Their world is unraveling, while yours is aligning. You are walking in divine favor, and no force, no scheme, and no amount of negativity can alter what has already been set in motion. Where their path is dark and uncertain, yours is illuminated, guiding you towards something far greater than what they could ever comprehend. The shift has happened. The line has been drawn, and you are standing exactly where you are meant to be, protected, elevated, and unstoppable. The tables have turned. The same people who once laughed at your beliefs, who called you foolish for trusting in divine wisdom, are now the ones searching for answers. They mocked your faith, dismissed your words, and scoffed at your understanding, thinking they had everything figured out. But now, the cracks in their own reality have become too large to ignore. The ground beneath them is unsteady, and their illusions no longer hold weight. They are seeing for the first time that what they rejected was the truth all along. Their pride is breaking, piece by piece. The arrogance they once carried like a shield has become a burden too heavy to bear. They are realizing that their knowledge, their status, their so-called wisdom, none of it could protect them from what is happening now. The very things they boasted about have failed them, leaving them vulnerable, uncertain, and afraid. And in this moment of desperation, they remember you. They remember your words, your warnings, the unwavering faith you carried even when they tried to tear you down. The same lips that once ridiculed you now speak in hushed, trembling tones, asking questions they never thought they would need to ask. Some will come to you, seeking guidance, hoping for answers that will ease their turmoil. They will look to you as a beacon in the darkness, drawn to the stability and peace that they never understood before. But not all who seek answers are ready for truth. Some will come with open hearts, truly willing to learn, while others will come only to ease their own fear, unwilling to let go of the pride that has already led them astray. Discernment is now more important than ever. Not everyone can be saved, and not everyone truly wants to be. You will recognize the difference. Those who are sincere will listen with humility, ready to change, ready to step into truth. But those who still cling to their old ways, who only seek relief but refuse to transform, will show their true intentions in time. The universe is making it clear. This is a moment of revelation, a moment where all are given a choice. But not everyone will take the right path. Some will try to drag you back into the confusion they created, hoping to use your wisdom for their own gain while refusing to embrace it fully. This is why you must stand firm. Do not allow their sudden desperation to shake you. Do not be deceived by empty apologies or surface-level curiosity. Stay rooted in what you know. Trust in the divine guidance that has led you this far, and let wisdom be your shield. The ones who are truly ready will show themselves. The rest will continue to wander, lost in the very darkness they once embraced. The sickness they are experiencing is only the beginning, a mere whisper of the storm that is building. The universe is moving, shifting, setting things into motion that cannot be stopped. What was hidden in the shadows is now being dragged into the light, and those who thought they could escape accountability are beginning to feel the weight of their own actions pressing down on them. This is not random. This is not just another cycle of hardship. This is the beginning of something much greater, a reckoning that will leave no room for deception. For too long, they operated in secrecy, believing their words and actions would never catch up to them. They built their lives on illusions, convincing themselves that power, manipulation, and lies could shield them forever. But now, the very foundations they relied upon are cracking. The walls they hid behind are crumbling, brick by brick, leaving them exposed to the truth they tried to ignore. They are standing at the edge of something they never prepared for, staring into a reality they can no longer deny. This is a period of accelerated judgment. What once took years to unfold is now happening in a matter of days. The energy of the universe is shifting rapidly, and those who refuse to change, who refuse to acknowledge what is happening, will find themselves caught in a force greater than anything they have ever known. The past is demanding a response. Every action, every word, every hidden thought is being weighed, and the consequences can no longer be delayed. The time of slow warnings has passed. Now comes the moment where the full measure of judgment begins to unfold, and it will not be subtle. The events that follow will shake them to their core, leaving them disoriented, lost, and searching for explanations that no longer make sense. They will try to cling to their old ways, but the ground beneath them is shifting too fast. Everything they trusted, everything they built their identities upon, will be challenged. What they once believed was solid will collapse like sand slipping through their fingers. The universe is making itself known in ways that cannot be ignored. What comes next is beyond their control. The choices they made have set their own judgment in motion. The energy they put into the world is returning to them in full force, and there is no escape from what they have unleashed. The illusion of power is fading, and the reality of truth is rising. They laughed at the warnings, dismissed the signs, and now they are left unprepared for what is to come. The veil has been lifted, and the next wave is approaching, stronger, faster, and more undeniable than anything they have faced before. The window is small, barely open, but it is still there. A final chance, a last warning before the next wave of judgment arrives. This is not a moment to hesitate or to ignore the signs. The air is thick with urgency, and those who continue to resist will soon find themselves completely cut off from grace. The universe has been patient, offering signs, sending messages, and giving opportunities to change. But patience is not endless. The tide is shifting, and those who refuse to acknowledge the truth will be swept away. For those who have ignored the call, this is the last moment to make a choice. The signs are no longer subtle. They are loud and unavoidable. Every event, every shift, every consequence is a direct response to the choices they have made. This is not chaos. It is divine order taking shape. The foundation is being laid for what comes next, and those who refuse to align will face the weight of their own resistance. They will try to deny it, to push against the inevitable, but resistance will only bring more suffering. The harder they fight against the truth, the stronger the consequences will be. What is coming is not just another test. It is a complete unraveling for those who refuse to wake up. The universe has reached the point where it must separate those who are ready from those who are not. This is not cruelty, it is balance. Those who have embraced the truth will find themselves protected, elevated, and strengthened. Those who have continued to deceive, manipulate, and reject what has been shown to them will be left to face what they have created. It is not punishment. It is simply the energy they have put into the world coming back to them in full force. The final warning has been given, and now the time for decision is here. The next phase is approaching swiftly, and once it arrives, there will be no more second chances. Those who are prepared will understand what is happening, while those who mocked and ignored will be left in confusion and fear. The difference between the two will be undeniable. It will not be a moment of explanation or negotiation. It will be the moment where the consequences of every action manifest fully. The divine plan is unfolding exactly as it was meant to. There is no stopping what is coming. The only choice left is whether to align with it or be crushed beneath it. The next reckoning is near, and soon every hidden thing will be revealed. Those who are ready will stand firm, while those who refuse to listen will face the storm alone.